Hi students, today we are going to discuss about P block elements. Already, I think the previous teacher discussed a few about the P block elements. So we have to discuss few more. Two more, three groups are there that also we have to discuss. Okay, let us discuss that today. So we are today going to discuss about group 16. Okay, group 16. That elements are also called chalcogens. Okay, and which are the elements? Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. And then we have one more element, livermorium. Okay, what it is called? Livermorium. These are the elements: oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, and livermorium. Okay, now let us see the occurrence. Oxygen, it is the most abundant of all the elements on earth. Okay, it is most abundant, oxygen. Okay, and dry air contain actually 20.946% of oxygen by volume. That is, in the atmosphere we know that 21% is what? Oxygen. Correct. Now let us see the earth crust, how much it is. 46.6% is this if you are taking the earth crust. And in the atmosphere already we have seen 21% is oxygen. And then sulfur, how it is existing? It will be existing as sulfate. SO4 is sulfate. Okay, like calcium sulfate, 2H2O is gypsum. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. Very important. Gypsum and Epsom salt, you have to learn the formula. Okay, calcium sulfate, 2H2O, magnesium sulfate, 7H2O, and barite, barium sulfate, BaSO4. So these all are the form in which sulfur exists as sulfates. Okay, and it is also existing as sulfide, lead sulfide, galena, single blend, ZnS, copper pyrite, CuFeS2. Okay, now sulfur is also present in volcanoes. We can see the sulfur in the form of hydrogen sulfide, and also in onion, and also in garlic, proteins, hair, everywhere we can see sulfur. The presence is there. Okay, the abundance of sulfur in the earth is almost 0.03 to 0.1%. The pungent smell of rotten egg, that is only due to the presence of hydrogen sulfide. And selenium and tellurium. Selenium and tellurium are also found as metal, selenide and telluride in sulfide ore. Now, what about livermorium? This is actually a synthetic radioactive element. It's synthetic, okay? Its atomic number is 116. Electronic configuration is random electronic configuration plus 5f14, 6d10, 7s2, 7p4. Okay, it has been produced only in a very small amount and very short half-life it is. So it's not present everywhere. It is present, even though if we can see, it will be very little fraction. Okay, that is why livermorium is not at all known more. Okay, polonium occur in nature as decay product. It is also a decay product of thorium and uranium. In physics, you will be learning about polonium, right? Nuclear fission and fission, that chapter you are learning this. Okay, now what about the trend? This is very important. What is the trend while we are moving down in a group? Okay, if you see the electronegativity, that is decreasing, ionization enthalpy decreasing, atomic mass increases, density increases, and ionic radius and covalent radius, all these are increasing, and electronegativity and ionization and enthalpy is decreasing. So what should be the reason for that? Let us go one by one. First, let us see the electronic configuration. The electronic configuration means you have to see the outer electronic configuration. What is the outer electronic configuration? 2s2, 2p4. Next one, 3s2, 3p4. Next one, 4s2, 4p4. So it's electronic configuration. The last electron is entering into the p orbitals. Okay, and the electronic configuration is written in general as ns2 np4. Okay, like that we can write. Okay, now if you see the size, ionic or atomic size, when we are moving down, it is increasing. What will be the reason? Very easy. The number of shells are increasing. Okay, if you see the electronic configuration, you can see that the number of shell will increase while we are moving down in a group. Okay, so that is the reason. Okay, now what will happen to the ionization energy? Look, the ionization energy is decreasing as the atomic size increases. What will be happening there? The electron, outer electron, will be far away from the nucleus, so it will experience less nuclear charge. Okay, and there will be also shielding effect because of inner shells, so it will be very difficult, easy to remove the last electron. That is why the ionization energy is increasing down. Okay, So increasing atomic size, the outermost electron is farther away from the nucleus, making it easy to lose the outermost electron. You can write also number of shell is increasing. You can also write the shielding effect is increasing. All these are answers for that. Okay, and let us see. Few other cases. Okay, ionization enthalpy have done. Now, if you compare the ionization enthalpy of group 16 element with the group 15, we find that group 16 element have lower ionization energy. Why group 16 is having lower ionization energy? Look at the outer electronic configuration. So if you see the outer electronic configuration in group 15, how it is, the p orbitals are half filled, but in group 16 it is not half filled. So here there will be pairing energy, it is paired. So this is having high energy compared to this. Okay, this is a stable configuration, right? Half filled. So removal of one electron from this will be difficult compared to this. This is because 15 element have extra stable half filled p orbital. That is the reason for the removal of one electron when this half filled orbital will be difficult. Understand? So now let us go to the next slide. Atomic property, electron affinity decreases as we go down the group. Electron affinity means tendency to attract the electron. That will be less because we already know that when it is moving down, the size is increasing and the nuclear charge is decreasing. So it is very difficult to accompany one more or accommodate one more electron inside that because the attraction is low. Okay, we have an exception. Oxygen has less electron affinity than sulfur. What is the reason? So if we are moving down, actually the electron affinity is decreasing, but oxygen has less electron affinity than oxygen is supposed to be more, but it is less. That is an exceptional case. What will be the reason for that? There is a reason for that. This is because the size of oxygen is actually very small. Okay, so where the valence electron are placed very closely, so that there will be electron repulsion inside that. Because of that, it is very important question. Okay, so oxygen as compared to sulfur, it is a very small, so that the electrons will experience some sort of repulsion inside that short area, more electrons. So that is the reason. Okay. So addition of an extra electron will result in increase in electron repulsion. Okay, so the electron affinity order will be coming like this. Sulfur is the electron affinity order of group 16 are as follows. So oxygen is having less electron affinity. Finally, electronegativity value also decreases as we go down group 16. When we are moving down the group, electronegativity means what? The tendency of a shared pair of electron, tendency of an atom to attract a shared pair of electron. That also decreases, same reason, because the atomic size is increasing, nuclear charge is decreasing. That is the reason. This is again because tendency to hold a shared pair of electron towards sulfur decreases as the size increases. Okay, so here one more. Oxygen is the second most electronegative element after fluorine in that. So first electronegative element is fluorine. After that, the oxygen is coming. Okay, the decrease in electronegativity also implies that metallic character increases down the group. Okay, now outer electronic configuration already we discussed, it is NS2 NP4. Now what are the physical properties? Oxygen and sulfur are pure non-metals there. Okay, but selenium and tellurium are metalloids. They have both the property of metal and non-metal. Whereas polonium is a metal. Polonium is a metal. So when we are moving down, the metallic property is increasing. First two elements are non-metals, next two elements are metalloids, and polonium is a metal. Polonium is also radioactive and short-lived. All these elements exhibit allotropy. Allotropy means what? The same physical state, but they exist in same physical state means it will be in solid only, but it will be existing in different form with a different physical property. That is called allotropy. So the melting and boiling point increases. You know that when we are moving down, the number of electron will increases, van der Waals force of attraction increases, and because of that, melting and boiling point also will increases. Actually, there will be a large difference of atomicity between what the melting point of sulfur and oxygen. What will be the reason for that? It's very easy. If you write oxygen, it is O2. If you write sulfur, S8. So the number of electron will be more here. The atomic mass is more for this than this. Number of electron more. Van der Waals attraction also more here plus here. That is the reason why it is having a high boiling point. Okay, that's all. Now, let's see the next. Oxidation state and trend in chemical reactivity. Let us see that first. Okay, the stability of minus, actually we can see that group 16 is showing -2. Prominent oxidation state is -2 oxidation state. But the stability of -2 oxidation state is decreasing down. If you are going down the group, that stability is less. Polonium very rarely is showing -2 oxidation state. Okay, so oxygen always showing -2 oxidation state except in OF2. This in redox reaction chapter we learned already. So in OF2 it is having a +2 oxidation state. Okay, other elements actually exhibit +2, +4 and +6 oxidation state, but among them +4 and +6 are more common. Okay, sulfur, selenium, tellurium usually show +4 oxidation state, and in their compound with oxygen, and +6 with the fluorine. So with the oxygen they are showing +4, and with the fluorine they are showing +6 oxidation state. The stability of +6 oxidation state decreases down the group, and stability of +4 oxidation state increases. Actually, +6 oxidation state is increasing down the group, and +4 oxidation state is +6 oxidation state is decreasing down the group, and +4 oxidation state increases down the group. Bonding in +4 and +6 oxidation state is preliminarily covalent bond they are forming with that oxidation state. Okay. And now let's see the anomalous behavior of oxygen. Very important topic it is. This oxygen, already we know that its electron affinity is also very less. Okay, it's showing a lot of anomalous property because of its small size. Okay, it is having very high electronegativity and small size. Because of that, it has a tendency to form hydrogen bond because of this property, small size and high electronegativity. And it has one more property. If you are comparing with other elements, this is not having any d orbitals present inside that. Okay, because it two shell consists of only sp. Right. Now, if you are going to the third period, we know that sp,d should be there. So only oxygen is not having d orbitals. So that is also, it cannot extend its configuration. So that is also one of the reason why it is showing an anomalous properties. The absence of d orbital in oxygen limits its covalency. The valency it will limit to 4, and in practice rarely exceed 2. On the other hand, in case of other element of group, the valence shell can be expanded because d orbital, availability of d orbitals are there. Okay. So now next, reactivity with hydrogen. All of this will react with the hydrogen. All the element of group 16 will react with the hydrogen, and they will form hydrate like water and H2. Okay, the acidic character is actually increasing down the group. If you are going down the group, the acidic character is increasing. What is the reason? You know, if you see OH bond length and TE H bond length, if you are moving down, the bond length is increasing. So the bond dissociation energy decreases. Easily we will get H plus ion. So acidic substance means those which can provide H plus ion. So when we are moving down, the bond length is increasing, bond dissociation energy is decreasing, easy to provide H plus ion. That is the reason why they are showing acidic character as we are moving down the group. Okay. And owing to the decreasing enthalpy of dissociation, He bond down the group, the thermal stability of hydride also decreases because of the same reason. All the hydrate will show reducing property except water. It's difficult to remove hydrogen. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Now reactivity with the hydrogen, and then reactivity with oxygen. So it will react with oxygen and form EO2 and EO3. Means O3, ozone is very familiar, sulfur dioxide, selenium dioxide. So sulfur dioxide, ozone and all are gases, and selenium dioxide is actually a solid. Reducing property of dioxide decreases down the group from SO2 to TiO2. SO2 is reducing while TiO2. So means when we are moving down, oxidizing properties increasing. TiO2 is oxidizing actually. And they can form EO3 type of oxide also. Example for that is SO3, SCO3, TiO3. They are actually, we know that non-metal oxides are acidic in character. So these all are acidic in nature. Okay. Now reactivity, they will react with the halogen to form halides like EX6, EX4, EX2 like that. And the stability of the halide decreases in the order. The more stable will be fluoride, then chloride, then bromide, and then iodide. Okay. Among the hexahalide, hexafluoride are the only stable because fluoride is having more stability. It is having less size also, so it will be forming a bond with a short bond length also. So the stability is more there. Okay. And all hexafluorides are gaseous in nature. Hexafluorides are gaseous. They have octahedral. We know that SF6, it is octahedral. We already learned in BSCPR theory that SF6 is having an octahedral structure. Sulfur hexachloride, SF6, exceptionally stable for stericity. It is very stable. Okay. And now, among tetrahalide, now we have tetrahalide. There also the fluoride are the prominent. SF4 is a gas. SCF4 is a liquid. So when we are moving down, that become converted into liquid and then solid state. Tellurium is also solid. Okay, and this fluoride have actually this SF4, SCF4, all these are having sp3d hybridization, but they have the lone pair of electron. Because of that, it is not having a trigonal bipyramidal shape. What shape it is attaining? It is attaining a seesaw geometry. That is the geometry. Okay, the geometry is actually seesaw geometry. It is having a seesaw geometry. All elements except oxygen form dichlorides and a dibromide. All elements will form dichloride and a dibromide. These dihalides are formed by their hybridization. If it is forming SCl2 and all, its hybridization will be sp3. So for hexahalides, its hybridization is octahedral. SF4, SCF4, that is tetrahalides, its geometry is seesaw. For dihalides, its geometry is sp3 hybridization, tetrahedral shape, and they are also dimeric in nature. Okay, so let us see some dimers: Sc2, S2F2, S2Cl2. These all are dimeric in nature also. And then these dimeric halide undergo disproportionation. Disproportionation reaction means what? They will have, you know, that is this is the oxidation, both oxidation and reduction will undergo in a single reaction. Okay, this is actually -1, so -2. So it will be +1, right? So this is converting into +4 oxidation state, and this is converted into 0 oxidation state. Okay, this is what disproportionate. Selenium is undergoing both oxidation and reduction during this reaction. So now let us see dioxygen, some few things about dioxygen also. Dioxygen, we know O2, that is our oxygen which we are breathing, that we can prepare in laboratory by heating KClO3, chlorides, potassium chloride in the presence of manganese oxide. When you heat it, we are going to, permanganate, when you heat it, we are going to get KCl plus, here one plus is there, plus O3, O2. Here we will get oxygen. Or we can do thermal decomposition of oxides of metal. Ag2O, when it undergo thermal decomposition, Ag plus O2, we will get lead oxide, PbO plus O2, mercuric oxide, Hg plus O2, lead oxide, PbO plus O2. Okay. Hydrogen peroxide is readily decomposed into water and dioxygen. This is very important reaction. When potassium permanganate, it will undergo decomposition in the presence of manganese dioxide to form water and oxygen. So these all are the preparation method for oxygen. And large scale, we can do electrolysis of water. So we will get hydrogen at cathode and oxygen at anode. So electrolysis of water, we will also get. If you undergo electrolysis of water, we know that H plus and OH minus will be there. This H plus will be moving towards the cathode, cation towards the cathode, and OH minus towards the anode. And in the anode, OH minus will liberate oxygen and H plus will liberate H2 in the cathode. Okay. Yes. And then that is large scale preparation. And now the industrial preparation, dioxygen, actually, if you take air and liquefy air, what will happen? Carbon dioxide and all other constituent present in the air will undergo, it will liquefy, okay, and water vapor. See, industrial dioxin is obtained from air by first removing carbon dioxide and water vapor by cooling it, and then the remaining gases are liquefied and fractionally distilled. So fractional distillation of air, by fractional distillation of air, we will get dioxygen. Okay. Next, we can see properties of oxygen that all of you know. So just we can see dioxygen is colorless, we know, odorless, we know. Its solubility in water is 3.08. Because of that, the aquatic animals also can get dissolved oxygen, right? We know that they are breathing dissolved oxygen. So because of that, this solubility, water is oxygen is dissolving in water, so that the aquatic animals and marine animals, they can use oxygen. It liquefy at 90 Kelvin. Oxygen atom has 3 stable isotopes, O16, O17, and O18. Actually, it will exist as O2 and it's paramagnetic. Paramagnetic, oxygen is paramagnetic. We learned in molecular orbital theory, right? While we are doing molecular orbital, unpaired electron were there. So it is paramagnetic also. And it directly reacts with all metals and non-metal. When it reacts with the metal, it will produce metal oxide, which is basic in nature. If it is reacting with the non-metal, it will produce non-metal oxide, which is acidic in nature. It will not react with the metals like native metals are there, gold, platinum, etc. And noble gases also won't react, so it will not react with the okay. Other elements often strongly exothermic reaction it will undergo. If it is reacting with magnesium, it will burn. Actually, white bright light will be producing and magnesium oxide will produce. So it is always this oxidation reaction or combustion reaction are always exothermic. We know that it is a very important component, right, for burning or combustion. So what are the some reaction? We all know this reaction, 10th grade we are learning. Calcium and react with oxygen, calcium oxide. Aluminium form aluminium oxide. Phosphorus form phosphorus oxide. Zinc sulfate when react with oxygen, which will form zinc oxide. When you burn the fuel CH4, it will produce carbon dioxide and water with a natural gas it is. And when sulfur dioxide react with oxygen, we can produce sulfur trioxide also, catalytic oxidation it is. When HCl react with oxygen in the presence of copper chloride, we will get chlorine and water. Okay. What are the uses? In addition to it's important in normal respiration and combustion reaction, it is used in oxyacetylene welding. Welding purposes it is using. Manufacture of many metals, particularly steel. Okay. Oxygen cylinders are widely used in hospital, high altitude flying, and in mountaineers. And the combustion of fuel, hydrogen in liquid oxygen, provide tremendous thrust in rockets. Okay, so these all are the uses. Okay, now about the oxides and all we can learn in next video. Okay, thank you.